very warm welcome to Daily Dispatch, a show that gives you all the latest news and updates from the digital ecosystem. I'm Priyashe. Thank you very much for logging in. Time now to get you all the top news stories that we've been tracking for you this evening. Well, first up, fintech startup Cred has entered the Unicorn Club after its latest series refunding of $215 million at a valuation of $2.2 billion. Now, Cred's latest funding round comes just a couple of months after the company raised $86 million at a valuation of $800 million. Well, moving on to the second headline of the day, Prosus Ventures and TPG Growth are leading an investment of $350 million in API Holdings, which is the parent company of Mumbai-based online pharmacy PharmEasy. Now, reports suggest that the deal is estimated to have valued PharmEasy at $1.5 billion post-investment. The company said it will be utilizing these fresh funds to expand the base of pharmacies it works with from 80,000 today to 120,000 within the next 12 months. Well, global buyout major KKR has closed a $15 billion fund to invest in private equity deals in the Asia Pacific region. The company, which has over $5.7 billion invested or committed in the country across 20 deals, did not specify how much of this newly raised Asian Fund 4 will be committed to India. Well, moving on to the final headline of the day, fintech startup Lending Cards NBFC arm has raised $15 million in debt funding from the Netherlands-based Entrepreneurial Development Bank (FMO). The funds will help Lending Card expand the reach of its financial products to over 100 sub-industries across India via its digital platform.
Well, moving on to our second segment, I have with me somebody who has been battling a crisis for the last maybe more than 1 year and continues to do so. And that I have with me Pradeep Shetty from the Hotels and Restaurants Association of Western India. Thank you very much for joining us on the Daily Dispatch. I want to begin by asking you about, the last couple of months. There was a period when we thought business was back to normal. People were beginning to get out. The curve for COVID had slightly eased off. But yet again, there are restrictions imposed by the government, state governments across the country. For the restaurants industry, is this the final nail in the coffin? Because things have been bad for the industry over the last year as well.
Yes, hi. So there it is. In fact, a catastrophe too that we said after what happened, what struck us last year. If you see, there was a revival process happening very slowly. We started off here in Maharashtra in October, rest of the country from, let's say, July onwards, July, August onwards. And it moved at a very, very slow pace, a very graded approach. There were a lot of restrictions, and slowly the restrictions were easing out. And also confidence of people were learning to live with it. We were learning to operate ourselves, under these pandemic conditions. I think November onwards till February were the really good times when things were starting to look up. However, when I say good time, it wasn't really good enough for us in terms of business prospects, but at least we were reaching up to 40% of the pre-COVID levels. What this also meant was that we were the staff and the people and the employees were coming back also, and so we were engaging with our people. We were getting back into the usual business. All of this now goes back to where we were, let's say in June last year. With complete shutdown, now we are staring at our employees again wanting to go back to their places. We are also staring at losses of how do we keep our premises shut with no operation. Then there are consequences of that too in terms of disuse, the problems that arise out of it. Then anytime when you want to reopen again, there is a capital that is required for that. And besides that, also the consumer sentiment has gone down because of so much of the spread or the media attention that it's getting. So there is a fear which we saw in the last week of February onwards. Footfalls were really getting low. So in terms of economics and business for this industry, it goes back to where we started off after the unlocking happened. And in terms of livelihoods for restaurants and hotels, it starts off as the most difficult period, because if you know what happened in 2020 was for the first time. So all of us the industry somehow managed to pull themselves out of it. To do the same thing all over again, it's going to be a very, very uphill task.
When you talk about bringing the industry back, at this point in time, the government has allowed deliveries, permitted takeaways from restaurants. And at this point, you have, partners like Swiggy, Zomato, Dunzo. So many of the players are getting into the food delivery business. Do you think that is going to support the restaurants in a certain way? Because business otherwise is almost zero, considering that it's shut on most days.
So what happens is, first myth that needs to be banished is that for a restaurant, a delivery is going to make any difference at all. So if you look at the business model of a restaurant, deliveries constitute only 5 to 10% of the revenues of the turnover, and it may go a little higher on weekends in terms of the revenue share. But when the revenue share of this whole business is so minuscule, it really doesn't do enough to make the business sustainable. So therefore, this whole point that deliveries is going to save the industry is a complete myth. It will not do anything like that. Now, in terms of what more has happened in the space of delivery, yes, we've reinvented ourselves. Since restaurants had a lot of employees as spare, because in dining didn't happen initially, and then it was at 50%. So a lot of the restaurant owners invested their own people into delivery. Of course, jobs were a problem, so others were willing to do more and more delivery. Secondly, of course, these platforms also have put in a lot of people in, and measures like temperature checks and tests and all those have been happening. So, in terms of whether this pandemic has brought in a change in the whole delivery setup, I think little bit of change that happened is there are more people from our side, from the industry side, but otherwise from the platform side, they continue to do what they were doing prior to the lockdown. Of course, in fact, they have lesser people than what they had before.
In terms of overall deliveries, do you think that the percentage has gone up, considering that people are now more used to, and over the last couple of months, they've been more used to ordering food online?
So yeah, so the if you talk in terms of numbers, deliveries may have gone up, but that also happened only when there was a complete lockdown place and then the partial reopening. Once restaurants reopened, again the deliveries fell, because deliveries are important for a business model where delivery, like a delivery kitchen or a cloud kitchen. For a restaurant, the selling point is that of ambience, is that of an experience, and food. All three put together makes a restaurant. So if you want to eat at a particular restaurant, delivery from that restaurant is not going to help. They're two different things completely. So as the revival process happened, deliveries definitely went down, but overall numbers of delivery went up because of the pandemic. Uh, so there was an increase, I would say about 2 to 5% of increase, but still not substantial to sustain the business that we are in.
During the first phase of the pandemic, the first wave, we saw, and when restaurants started reopening, we saw certain restaurants shut down completely, certain chains completely, consolidate their operations. And this has happened across the country. Do you think there is further scope where we'll see the industry further shrinking from what it already has shrunk to over the last couple of months?
Yeah, shrinking has happened, as we've said that 30% of the restaurants have not even opened after the last year's pandemic. For various reasons, there were rental issues, the people just couldn't find the capital to restart. And also because of locational issues, so many restaurants didn't find it viable at all to open with so many restrictions in place, namely work from home, travel restriction, tourism restrictions. So 30% haven't shown up at all. The remain Now what happens now, if your question is that if there's going to be a further addition to that, yes, that will happen, because this is a blow which is going to be the most hardest, even from what it was last year. People somehow managed to come out of it, as I told you earlier. This time around it's going to be very difficult. So yes, the impact is going to be greater this time. Should the government not reverse this and bring about some kind of semblance in creating an environment which is more conducive to doing business and in a sustainable manner. Having delivery alone and keeping the entire establishment shut is definitely not sustainable, because I can't retain my employees. They are bound to go back. I'm unable to manage my own self. So if I have to open an entire outlet and have only deliveries, I rather shut it, because as I said, it may work well for a only delivery model. So they may see an upsurge a little bit, about a couple of percentages here and there. But other than that, there is only a downside to all of this.
Final question before I let you go, and this is with regards to the kind of lessons that restaurants have learned from the first wave of the pandemic. Anything specifically that comes to your mind in terms of what would be the possibly the top 2 or 3 lessons that have been learned, and which can be implemented in the second wave as well?
So what we've really understood is that there has to be SOPs, and you will have to follow a strict SOP. Make the entire environment in your restaurant or in your operations which is completely COVID safe. And as our parent body FHRI and also our HRAWF, we've been right from August last year been conducting a series of sessions with people to have a COVID. It was called COVID-19 training program. So that kind of sensitization is at a very good level right now. Every owner, every employee is aware how he has to operate himself, conduct himself, so that he gives a COVID-free environment to his guests. So that becomes critical, and I think that will be there for a long time to come. You'll have to continue operating in these ways. The second is to make the business sustainable. You'll have to learn to operate in a very different way. Unlike before, you may have gone to restaurants and you will not see a lot of people working right now. So there are fewer people doing more jobs. There's a lot of multitasking that is happening. So this is the other thing that may come up. This will ensure that restaurants who have opened are able to manage their affairs in a sustainable manner, whereby if not they earn much, at least they won't end up losing. These are the 2 key elements I can see which we have learned out of this pandemic.
All right, Mr. Shetty, many thanks for joining us on the Daily Dispatch, and thank you so much for your time.
Thanks a lot.
Well, time now to say goodbye. Many thanks for joining us on this edition of the Daily Dispatch. I'll see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Goodbye and take care.